Welcome to this episode of The Lesson with me, your host, Leanne. I'm the Executive Director of the Sovereign Stylist. And don't forget to do a like and a subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our new episodes. Today, we will be discussing liability insurance for the beauty industry. I'm joined by Chris Van Leeuwen, Vice President of Agency Development at Veracity Insurance Solutions, the parent company of Beauty and Body Works Insurance. Chris started his insurance career in 1987 with his family's agency. After becoming the owner, he sold the agency to a top 100 firm in 2007. Chris has been instrumental in the development and the implementation of several national programs and risk purchasing groups. So Chris, your bio mentioned that you enjoy international travel. What's your favorite destination so far?
Wow, that is a tough one. I have two.
Okay.
I would have to say we did Australia and Kangaroo Island, which was really great. But the one that was really adventuresome was we spent a week on the Amazon River fishing.
Wow.
So we got to see the pink dolphins. We caught caimans, piranha, peacock bass.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that was quite an adventure. So as far as adventure goes, that's it. But we've seen some beautiful places, Monte Carlo and Hungary and Austria, and so we've been to some great places.
Excellent. Let's jump into these questions from our members.
Sure.
As a business owner, what factors come into play in regards to protecting my business?
That is a great question. As an insurance professional, what I try and do is help a business owner understand some of the pitfalls he might have in his business, and then be able to provide solutions to hopefully mitigate some of those problems. And a business has, it's not just one. You've got like your premises liability, you got your professional liability, especially in your industry. You have tools and equipment if you have, especially if you're a mobile business. So it depends on the operations of the business. So it's really important to understand what each business is doing, and so you can so that you can suggest and be able to provide insurance coverages that will address those exposures.
Good deal. Why would a student need coverage?
Whether you're a student or a full-time practitioner, if you cause harm to somebody, you're going to get sued. And so it's really important, whatever aspect of the business you're in, to make sure you have coverage so that if something does happen, that you have an insurance company that can respond to that claim.
So then do I need insurance, or do I need liability insurance if I'm an employee?
Okay, that is a good question also. So if your employer has professional liability coverage and you are on that policy, you would not need it. But a lot of times you've got people that are acting more as independent contractors, and they might be moving around from one salon or shop to another. Then they would need their own coverage, and to have their own coverage makes it more portable and it's transferable. So it's a little bit easier that way.
Okay, good deal. So how much does a policy cost?
Well, under the BBI policy, it's $96 a year, and that's the base policy. And then if you get additional, like business personal property coverage, you can add that on there, but the base policy is $96.
Oh, excellent. The sign-up process offers add-ons for additional coverage. Could you explain what the add-on for cyber coverage is and who would need such protections?
Sure. Cyber coverage is really important these days. We're seeing a lot of small businesses getting attacked, especially with more people working from home. And it doesn't take a whole lot to breach. You can get email breaches, you can get people that might be able to get into credit card information or personal identifiable information, which would be name, address, date of birth. So if you're holding any of this information, whether it be in a database or your emails, it's really important to get that cyber coverage to protect you and help pay for some of these claims. And it's not only the claim, it's actually the data mining. They have to go in and figure how deep and how far they got into your system, and that gets really, really expensive. We had a small business got their email breached, and it was over $60,000 just for the data mining.
Wow.
And so you kind of figure that could really cripple a small business. But cyber is there to protect the small business for data breaches, to mitigate the claim.
What is an additional insured?
An additional insured, it'd be better just to give an example here. So if I was to work for a salon, that salon would want me to name them as additional insured. And what that means is that salon has full rights to my policy if for some reason I am negligent and cause somebody harm and they sue me and the salon. So because of my negligence, they're getting pulled in, that third party is getting pulled into a lawsuit. That additional insured status says that my policy will protect them.
Okay. That's a good thing for like booth front salon owners to have,
yes,
to probably have require that in their lease.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Because anytime if you've got a salon and you have all these independent contractors working for you, and if something happens, you will more than likely get sued. To have that additional insured status, then we'll have that independent contractor cover you for those claims that arise.
Do you have to wait to get a quote with you guys?
No, you can go right online. You know, like I said, the base premium is $96, and you can go right online. You create your account, and if you want to move forward, you put your credit card in, and you have your policy documents as soon as that credit card goes through. So it's pretty instantaneous. Excellent.
Now, we do have a few questions regarding the excluded practices that we were hoping you could give our viewers a rundown on what a policy excludes.
Okay, that's a big question.
Well, for example, it says it also forbids prescription, sales, distribution, and administration of narcotic controlled substance or prescription medicine. Does that include CBD products or similar items that are deemed popularity?
Under this, yes, it is. Under this particular program, we do not cover any type of cannabis-related products. And we have another option for them. And so if they're getting into the cannabis-related industry, we have other options, but it won't be for $96. The exposure is too great. So, but we can help them out. That in those circumstances, they'd have to call us, and then we would get an application, go through the normal quote process. But if for the $96, we're really targeting in a very specific group of people, and that way we can offer competitive pricing for the majority. But those that are kind of having outlying exposures, we have other options for them.
So could you maybe shed some light on why the exclusions of vitamin supplements, and why it would be a liability to offer those products?
Sure, because anytime somebody's ingesting anything, just like anything topical, you know, you can cause rashes or you have allergic reactions or something happens. But if you ingest it, you can actually, if you have those same kind of problems, sometimes it's a little bit more than something that's topical. And again, so what the insurance companies do, they look at, okay, we're going to charge X amount of premium for the exposure. And again, for $96, we can't include those things, but we have other programs that will respond to anybody that may be distributing or manufacturing vitamin supplements or even CBD type of products. So we can do that, but the minimum premiums are much higher than $96.
Okay. So I've seen a lot of stylists that are trying to help their clients, and they offer what could be considered as medical advice to clients. Could you reinforce why this is a dangerous practice in the terms of liability?
Absolutely, because if you actually give some type of maybe deemable medical advice, or hey, give this a try, or here's a bunch of CBD components and now you don't need to take your high blood pressure medication kind of a thing, then you are not a medical professional in there, but the courts will come at you as if you were kind of, if you're going to give this advice and something goes bad, you're going to get sued and it's going to be excluded under the policy. And so you're going to be hanging out there to dry. So it's just like in our industry, people come to us saying, hey, can you review these contracts? We always say, we're not attorneys. We'll only review the insurance section and give you advice on that piece. But we try and stay in your silo, because as soon as you start venturing outside that silo, you can bring a lot of exposure and may not have the coverage for it.
Right. How soon does a person have to submit a claim in the event that they do have an incident?
Yeah, as soon as you know about it, you should submit it. There's a couple ways. Even if you think this isn't going to be any big deal, we can actually put the company on notice and just say, hey, we think this is hanging out there, so that if something comes down the road 6-7 months down the road, the insurance company's not going to be surprised. They already know this might be something happening. But I would say as soon as you know about it, you need a call.
Okay. What are some examples of reasons a hairstylist would need liability coverage?
The most common that I would say is, especially if you're putting chemicals on people. We've had people have hair loss. We've had people get burned. And so those are kind of the first things that stick in my head. And so anytime that you are legally liable for bodily injury or property damage for your services, that's what the liability coverage is going to pick up and pay.
Excellent. So through your time in insurance, do you have any real world stories that needed coverage and then they did not have it?
Oh man, I mean, we see that all the time, is where, especially on the property end, a lot of people buy a liability policy, but then they don't buy any type of property insurance. So if you have like a salon owner and they have everybody get liability, but then they don't cover all their inventory and supplies, and there's either a theft, vandalism, some other kind of water damage or fire claim, and they lose a lot of inventory and they have no coverage because they always thought their liability would pay for it. Or somebody that wouldn't buy professional liability policy when they needed it. So there's some examples in there to where, and we talked about cyber too, right? People don't think they need it till the claim occurs. So yeah. I think the best advice would be, it's important when you're buying insurance is to have a conversation with the agent and make sure they understand what your business exposures are, so they can recommend some coverages. Now, whether they buy them or not, that's a whole other thing, but at least understand what's out there.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure that our viewers got a lot of good information from you today, and the importance of liability coverage, insurance coverage altogether. Is there anything else that you would like for us to know?
Well, I just think that it's really important to know about the BBI program, that you can access your own web or your own customer portal 24/7. You can get certificates of insurance on the spot. You can get additional insureds on the spot. So it's a great portal. So if you're out on the weekends and you run into an issue and you need some insurance documents, you can get those. And so it's a really nice platform for the insureds.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Chris, for joining us. And we look forward to working with BBI in the future.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.